Hey folks, I'm just starting the stream up a little early so everyone has some time to filter in. And I have family members who I love so much watching downstairs, and the volume on the TV or computer is so loud that I can hear it coming up through the floor. And if you happen to be on already, and you're in YouTube, go ahead and leave a quick hello introducing yourself in the chat if you feel like it. And yeah, Liz, that is much better. I cannot hear myself echoing up from downstairs. I heard it. I was like, oh no. All right, I'm just going to give it a minute or two, give some people some time to jump on, and then we'll dive right in. Chat, how is the audio quality and video quality? Does it seem like things are going well? YouTube's telling me the stream health is excellent. Immaculate. It should say your stream health is immaculate. Kurt, how's it going? It's so good to see you. Thanks for dropping in. Let me ask, Kurt, do you have experience with any of like the GPT AI tools? Things like ChatGPT or DALL-E or even like Jasper or Copy AI? How's it going? Hey, Shelly, Scott. Welcome, welcome. How about we say just 30 more seconds and then we'll jump in. Excellent. Hey, Nicole, you made it. Great. All right, well, let's get started. There's going to be a recording after the fact, so if you have to drop off or if you're watching this after the fact, hey, how's it going? But I'm glad that you're here live right now because I'm going to spend a little time talking about AI authoring tools, content creation tools for small businesses. But what I want to spend most of the time on is hearing things that you want to create and seeing if we can get it created for you in seconds. That is the most fun part about all of this. So let me switch over to my screen share. Great. And I'm just going to review what we're walking through today a little bit before jumping in. First, we're going to just briefly talk about how AI has just radically kind of changed and how access to AI has changed, which makes this conversation even possible. Then I want to talk for just a brief second as well about the ethics of some of these tools, because it's a little tricky. There are minds you might not think about it out there. Then we'll talk through some tools. Like what is out there, why some things are better than others, just a little bit of that, because there are two tools I really want to focus on, and those are DALL-E for image generation and ChatGPT for content generation. We'll talk more about them once you get there. Then we're going to spend a lot of time on prompts. You know, how do you make these things do the thing that you want them to do? So with that, biggest possible change that happened over the last year or so were the introduction of two tools. One is called DALL-E 2. It's an image generation tool where you can write in something that you would like the tool to create for you, and it creates it. And it's wild. It can create things that look like photographs. It can make illustrations. It can do paintings in a variety of styles, like styles throughout history. You can ask it to create all sorts of wild things. Then the other thing which just happened in the last couple months was the introduction of a tool called ChatGPT. And this is a conversational AI interface where you can ask it questions, you can ask it to create things, you can talk to it, chat with it, just like you would a person, and it responds it's just bonkers how it responds. It talks back to you like a human. It's pretty good at answering most of your questions, and it can create content for you super, super quickly. Let's see. I'm just checking in on chat really quick. All right. If you have questions or anything, leave them in chat. I will get to them hopefully sooner rather than later. But let's jump in. Talking about ethics really quick, there are a couple things that I think it's important everyone's aware of. You've got to make your own decisions about many of these things, but here's where I stand on them. First is these models are all trained on content that real people created. So DALL-E only knows how to create an illustration because it's been fed tons and tons of illustrations, and it's been able to understand from those illustrations and from humans training it that, this is what a cat looks like. This is what illustration style looks like. This is what a Picasso looked like. And that's really cool, but it leads to the fact where you could ask it to generate you art in the style of a popular artist, and I'm sure in the future of less popular artists, and it'll be able to do a pretty good version of that style. And there's a guy named Greg Rutkowski, who's a really skilled illustrator, and his name is one of the most common names used in art generation prompts. Like, make me a picture of a dragon attacking a castle in the style of Greg Rutkowski. And it's cool because you get that image back, but he's really feeling the pain of that. And what he's advocating for is that all works from living artists should be excluded from these models. And I happen to think that it is not a fair decision to these artists to use their names in prompts. For living, working artists, I don't think you should do it. You obviously can ignore me and just do that if you want, but I don't think it's the right thing to do for artists. These technologies are really going to, in my opinion, radically change the way creative work is done. And I think it's important for us to try and do what we can to protect the livelihoods of artists. Like, think for yourself, if there was a robot that could do your job perfectly, if it could just watch you do it for a little while or for a while, and then anyone could ask it to do your job instead of you and could pay pennies on the dollar to it or its owners instead of you to do your job, would you want them to? No, I don't think so. I mean, maybe you would. I don't know. I don't think I would, and which is why I wouldn't use artist names. But you can still get some really great stuff not using artist names. The next thing is, when you're asking tools like ChatGPT for answers to questions, you have to check their work. If you ask them simple questions, they're going to give you pretty good answers. How tall is the tallest building in the world? You're going to get a pretty good answer. But there are times when it just doesn't give you the right answer. But one aspect of ChatGPT that just is kind of mind-blowing is just how confident it seems. So it'll give you the wrong answer super confidently. I have a couple examples here. The other night, Liz, Jack, and I were asking it for recipes. We'd give it a list of ingredients we had in the pantry and ask it for a recipe. It did a pretty good job. But then I thought I'd get a little spicy, and we each just kind of round-robined recipes. And some things were in there, like orange juice, feta cheese, all sorts of stuff. But then we had gravel, we had ostrich eggs, and something else that wasn't edible. And ChatGPT knew not to include the inedible things in the recipe. And I was like, okay, you've got it. And then I looked at the first step, which was to cook the couscous, or bring your orange juice to a boil and cook the couscous in it for 20 minutes or until the orange juice is evaporated, which I don't know if that'll taste good. My gut tells me no, but that's like a simple example of it. But a larger example is Stack Overflow is a question and answer website for professional programmers and people learning programming. And they recently banned ChatGPT answers to questions because of how inaccurate they were. And they look like they should work, but when you try and use them, they just don't. Another one, somebody asked if President Lincoln's assassin was on the same continent as Lincoln when the assassination occurred. and ChatGPT couldn't say with confidence that they were on the same continent at the time. I'm not telling you these things to say like you shouldn't use these because they're not useful at all. I'm just saying right now you need to check ChatGPT's work. It's still going to save you a ton of time. It's still likely to get you to answers fast, but it's not 100% accurate. That kind of leads me to the next one, that you need to watch out to make sure that you're not just plagiarizing works that already exist. So one of my favorite ways to use ChatGPT is to generate ideas or to give me a rough couple paragraphs to start from, to unblock me, to give me creative ideas that then I can kind of rewrite on my own, or I can fiddle with the sentence structure. But in some cases, especially when you're asking for short blocks of content, like a tweet or a post for social media, I'd encourage you not to use it verbatim, because sometimes it'll pull whole hog from existing tweets. I have yet to get exactly the same tweet that's already out there, but I've got some that are really close. So all of that aside, hopefully I didn't just harsh everybody's vibes. Let's jump into the next thing. I'm going to review a couple AI tools. And if you have any questions or pushback about the ethics part of this, let me know. Sorry. One little tool that I thought I'd share with you all is there is a tool that's a student built called GPT-0, where you can pass it a chunk of text. So let me grab a chunk of text that I had GPT create already. How about... I had one of these already stacked. I just keep clicking the same thing, I think. Well, whatever. I'll follow up with this. You can paste content into this, and it will use AI to analyze the copy and tell you if it was likely that it was generated by a human or by an AI tool. And it's remarkably accurate. I tested it on a bunch of content that I had generated, and in the instances where it could tell me if it was from a human or from AI, it was always right. And in the instances where it wasn't helpful, it wasn't because it told me the wrong thing. It just didn't feel confident enough to tell me anything. Okay, so let's talk about a few tools. The first is Jasper. Jasper is an AI copywriting tool. It's like $40 or $50 a month, so it's pretty expensive. The benefit of it, though, is it does a lot of the thinking for you. There are lots of templates for prompts. So if I wanted to, well, you can see it right here. There's an Amazon product description generator where I just have to tell it a little bit about my product, and it'll give me something back. I don't have to actually worry about structuring prompts, so the AI knows what to give me back. So the value here is that it has lots of prompts and things for you to build off of, which is pretty valuable. But we're not going to spend too much time in Jasper, because I feel like for many people it's more expensive than they need to get started. And you may, after playing around with ChatGPT, you might find that, I need a little help with my prompts, or this is taking me too long, and then you might want to use Jasper. But I wouldn't start out here. I'd start out in some of the tools we're going to actually play with. The next thing for folks who really get into this and want to start actively tuning the results you get back is the GPT Playground. And I'm actually going to jump right back really quick, because I see some questions coming up. So Peter, assuming legal things can arise from that, yeah, for sure. Like, that's the main reason why you don't want to just copy paste directly from ChatGPT. Use it as a starting point, go in, rewrite, add your own sort of flavor and personality to it, and it's still going to save you a ton of time, but don't copy paste. John, you're blown away by the revelation that it can create artwork. Just wait till you get to see it. Okay, jumping back into it. So this GPT playground, OpenAI playground, you can do the same stuff, generally speaking, that you can in ChatGPT. You give it a prompt, it gives you responses back, but you have a lot of control over the way it gives you responses back. You can choose the model it uses. Different models are faster and others are more accurate, and you can change the various attributes of what comes back. This is too complex for what we're doing today, but if you really fall in love with this stuff, here's where you're going to end up. Before you end up building an actual application on it, you get to interact with the API directly through this tool. All right, so let's actually get started. This is ChatGPT, and it is like a conversational AI that you can ask questions, pose prompts, and it returns you results. So let's talk about the anatomy of this. A prompt is what you type into the chat box. So I'm going to ask in chat for somebody to give me a prompt, but I'm going to give one as well. And I just jumped over to chat. I saw from Shelly, are there any discussions about how relying on ChatGPT is going to diminish our capability to think and write? Sometimes the struggle is what helps our brains stay sharp and continue to learn. It's an interesting question, and one that I haven't really thought about that side of things right now. I will say, like, large companies like OpenAI, like Google, are working on tools to detect AI-generated content, and they're going to be able to do it. So I don't think these tools are ever going to completely eliminate human written content, because why Google or OpenAI would want to do this is so they can identify and potentially deprioritize or penalize search or AI written content in search rankings, so people aren't just pumping out this stuff. And I think when I think about, is it gonna mess up our ability to be creative, I'm not super worried about that. I kind of feel like that could scale our ability to be creative, just like digital art did. So I'm able to design things way faster on my iPad than I ever was with pen and paper, with physical media. And it's actually made me more creative because I can experiment more quickly. I kind of think that's going to be one of the impacts of this. For some people, it's going to make us lazier because it's so much easier. But for others, I think it'll just give them the ability to do more. Okay, I have a prompt from Liz. Oh, actually, I'm going to start with Jax. Write an endearing birthday poem for my dog. So let's do that one. I'm going to say that dog needs a name. Munchie. The Shorky. We hit enter, and now, wow, that was fast. It's already started. Happy birthday to my dear Munchie, the Shorky who brings joy to my life. With your fluffy coat and wagging tail, you fill my days with endless delight. Your playful antics never fail to make me smile. Your boundless energy never seems to tire. I'm grateful for every moment we share and for the love that you inspire. You are more than just a pet to me. You're a faithful friend and companion. I'm blessed to have you by my side on this special day and every day that has gone. So here's to you, Munchie, my dear Shorky. May your birthday be special as you are. Filled with treats, toys, and all your favorite things, and surrounded by love from near and far. That was pretty great. That's an amazing prompt. Thank you so much, Jack. Okay, Peter, I'm going to pick yours. A rhyming paragraph selling painting services to the rich and famous. I like this. Interested to see what comes back. Are you rich and famous and in need of some art? Well, look no further, for I'm the one to impart my painting services, top-notch and fine, to add some pizzazz to your space, all yours and all mine. With a brush in hand and palette full of hue, I'll create a masterpiece just for you. Whether it's a portrait or landscape grand, I'll work my magic at your command. So don't hesitate, give me a call, and let's make your wall stand tall, with a painting that will impress and bring beauty and success. For the rich and famous, only the best will do, and my painting skills, I'll see your vision through. So contact me now, and let's get started, and let's make your space truly art-hearted. See, a little, not perfect, but a great place to start. There are lots of rhymes in there. And Pete, I think you're a house painter, like not a fine art painter. So that gets to one of the big tips for ChatGPT is try and be specific. Now, one really neat thing about this tool is it remembers your conversation. So I can ask it to do something to this thing that it just wrote me. So I could say, make the poem about house painting. And now you can see it's going to regenerate with the new feedback that I've given it. And this looks way more appropriate to the actual act of house painting as opposed to like fine art or portrait painting. That's pretty rad. I am continuously blown away by this thing. Oh, Pete, if you signed up for the newsletter, the webinar, I'll send it to you afterwards. But you should really just sign into ChatGPT and ask it yourself, because it's going to give you something very close to that, and you'll be able to tinker with it and keep going. All right, so let's see. What's another good one we have here? I'm going to take, Liz, yours now. Generate, because I want to show off Punch It Up. So this one is generate a blog post about how ChatGPT is a game changer for small businesses. So here we go. It's going to take a little while to write this out as it's kind of figuring out an interesting article. This looks pretty great. But what you're going to see is by default, ChatGPT is a couple of things. It's pretty verbose, like it writes a lot of text, unless you give it some parameters like write me a paragraph or write me 1 to 3 paragraphs on this. Like that was a pretty long chunk of text. And it's also kind of like, it sounds like a marketer wrote it. So again, the way that this worked is, or the way that this is trained is it was fed lots of articles and ebooks and pages from Reddit and stuff. So when you ask it questions about blogs or about marketing, it's going to rely on a lot of marketing content. So if you want to make it a little bit more fun, this is my favorite and Liz's favorite additional prompt. So I got this back and I can say, punch it up. Oh no. Sorry, let me reload this. Well, just while this is reloading, Punch It Up does a generally pretty good job of making it more interesting. Okay, so here's a great question while this is loading it up. Here you go. Nicole, I'm going to drop the link in to sign up for ChatGPT. There you go. And I'm going to... Shelly asks, can you use it for tweets and LinkedIn posts too? I'd love to see what that looks like. I'm going to take an article that Liz has for an upcoming edition of her newsletter, which was largely ghostwritten by ChatGPT. And what I'm going to say is, write me 3 tweets based on the following article. And then I'm going to put the article down there, hit enter, and there you go. First one is mixing patterns is one of the most stylish and cohesive ways to design a space. Try combining patterns with a common color for harmony, or mix patterns with different scales and styles for visual interest and drama. I'm not going to read all 3 of these, but this is one of the things that ChatGPT is very good at, summarizing big chunks of content. So if you have an article, or if you have a transcript from a video or something like that, it is excellent at either summarizing so it's easy to understand, or giving you things like tweets or social posts. Oh, Pete, that is a great question. So Pete asks, can we link it to Zapier if this then that? Zapier just added an OpenAI integration. So what that means is you can take any content input. So say you want to set it up to automatically respond to emails, which I'd be a little nervous about, but it's worth giving a try if your clients are understanding. You can set it up to your Gmail to say, whenever someone sends me an email, I want you to send this over to ChatGPT with the prompt, write a response to this person's request for information about my house painting services. And then the next action could be to create a draft in Gmail. Now, I wouldn't necessarily say you should send that automatically, but you can definitely have it take the email that comes in, give you the response back from ChatGPT or from OpenAI, which is the company that made ChatGPT, and create a draft for you in Gmail. And then your process could just be whenever that happens, go in, check the draft, make sure that it accurately represents what you're talking about, what you're selling, and then hit send. And that's that. That was just one of the, I think they call them recipes or whatever, that I was experimenting with in Zapier earlier today. I have a couple other like crazier ones that don't work super well yet. But yeah, you can definitely use it in Zapier. All right, let me see what. So Emily asks, can you adjust the length of response you want? Yes, you can. So let's say, let's jump back over there and we'll say, write me a 2 sentences about the importance of hiring a good house painter. Please only be 2 sentences. Oh, there you go. Hiring a good house painter is important because they can make or break the final look of your home. A skilled painter will be able to properly prepare surfaces, choose the right paint and techniques for the job, and produce a high-quality, long-lasting finish. Okay, so there are a ton of other just like one-off prompts we can do, but I want to show you the way that I've been using ChatGPT recently that has been most effective for me. Saves me time, is easy to come back to. So I'm going to start a new chat, and you'll see that in this sidebar are all these saved chats. So when you write a chat, it'll save it in the sidebar for you. So the way I think about this is I want to essentially make a little AI application for me in each of these chats. So I want to tell it to answer me in a certain way when I give it a prompt. So what I'm going to say is, let's say I want an email subject line generator. I work at an amazing company called Aweber. We have products that let you send email, build landing pages, do all sorts of really awesome things. We serve small businesses and creators, and I get to see some really incredible businesses doing real good in their neighborhoods. But I want to make an email subject line generator. So I'm going to tell ChatGPT, act like an email subject line writer. That's not how you spell subject. There you go. I'm going to give you an article, and I want you to respond with 3 subject line ideas that are each no longer than 255 characters, which is generally what you want to stick to when writing email subject lines. They should be easy to understand, clever, and if possible, and friendly. Okay. So now this chat in my sidebar is my subject line generator. So I'm going to rename it subject line generator. Now I'm going to take that same article that Liz is going to be sharing in her newsletter. I'm going to paste it in here. And there you go. I get 3 subject line ideas back. Add some personality to your home with pattern mixing, get the look, mixing patterns for a cohesive and stylish space, and discover the art of mixing patterns, tips and tricks for a chic and unique look. Those are actually all pretty good. I'm just continuously blown away by this thing. But that idea for treating your chats like an application is one of the things that's been most useful for me, because now I have some idea generator chats just out there ready for myself to to throw questions at it. Like, I need some ideas about product management to write about, and it'll give me a couple sentences that'll hopefully unblock me, which I can go explore and write about. I have a subject line generator. I have a little recipe chat where I can feed it ingredients and it'll give me possible recipes. It's really wonderful. Okay, let's see. Yeah. Oh, well, so Liz has a request for that to punch it up. I don't know if it's going to punch up subject lines. Let's see. It did. All right, so that is the go-to tool for like improving the content you get back and making it a little bit more human and fun. I'm going to show you one more thing in ChatGPT, and then let's get over to the image generation side of things. So I'm going to have it write me a paragraph about, I don't know, penguins. So it's going to do that. Penguins are flightless birds, etc., etc. I'm not going to read through all of this. But if I get this back and it's too stuffy or isn't in the tone that I really want it to be in, there are a couple of different ways that I can make it more interesting. I could go with the good old punch it up, which is a standby. It's really easy to remember, and it generally makes things more interesting. So let's punch it up. But there are other things I can do as well. One of my favorite patterns to use is to say, write this like X wrote it. And you can put whatever you want in there. Let's say a grizzled old cowboy wrote it. Oh yeah, this is very much punched up. The most iconic and beloved birds in the world. Normal ChatGPT wouldn't write that, but when you punch it up, there you go. So let's see if this works. We'll write this like a grizzled old cowboy wrote it. Well, now, if you're looking an apostrophe to learn about them penguins, I reckon I can give you the lowdown. See, this is just amazing, and that's better than I ever could have expected. So I saw Scott, like my stream is slightly ahead of yours, but the question was, are there other things like punch it up? This one is a big one for me. Write it like X wrote it. You can also do simple things that just might come to mind when you're thinking about how you would change text. Like when I look at something I wrote and it just feels too stuffy in my head, I think, how can I make this friendlier? You can just ask ChatGPT that, like, make it friendlier. And it'll do a passable job. Like I said before, you probably want to be specific, or as specific as possible when giving feedback. So if I had written, or in the past I had written, write this like a cowboy wrote it, and you'll get maybe a y'all inserted. But when you say a grizzled old cowboy, then you get these really quirky wordings like, Lordy, they're like torpedoes. I don't think that would have come back if I had just said, write it like a cowboy. It had to be a grizzled old one. Okay, let's move on to image generation. This is Dolly, and it's about to blow your mind. I would love to hear a prompt from folks about an image you'd like to generate. I'm going to start with my tried and true, let's say a golden retriever riding skateboard while wearing a backwards hat and sunglasses. I'm going to hit generate, not give it any specific style. It's probably going to generate some photos for me. You can see over here, I generated images for my landing page using this tool. And there are 4 equally radical, each one more radical than the last, images of what I just asked for. This is just wild. So I'm going to just wait a second or two, see if we get any good prompts for image generation, and I'll also drop the link to this into chat. And I'm going to make sure to send you a follow-up email with links to all of this stuff, as well as a link to a Google Doc I have, which with some of my favorite prompts for image generation, etc. Okay. Prompt from Emily. A man discovers the price of magic. Here we go. And it generates these things remarkably fast. Pete, I'll take, or John, actually, I'm just going to update this one after it comes back. So this is a man discovering the price of magic. I want to show you a few ways to make these images better and to refine them. Because when I do image prompts, it's generally like a really long string of text. So there are a couple things that you want to focus on. So first is the subject. In this case, it's a man. Then the action they're performing discovers the price of magic. A couple things that would probably make this look more like what you might have in mind are a location, a style, and a general mood for the image. So a location could be a man who is standing on I don't know, a cliff overlooking the desert at night, discovers the price of magic. And then we'll want to say a style. I'm going to say, how about 90s style? And a mood, what do you think? Fun? Emotional? Let's say fun. Let's just do fun. And there we go. While this is popping up, let me look at some other prompts you have out there. Kurt, that is a great question about combining existing art. I have a whole section of that I want to go through. I might not have time to show that tonight, but you know what I will do? I'll record a video specifically on that, just like 2 or 3 minutes, and I'll send it out to anyone who wants it. I can do that later tonight. Oh, yeah. Okay, well, this is not the best example of AI-generated art, but it did make this art. This one is maybe not my favorite. This actually leads me to my most helpful tool for AI-generated art. There's a site called Lexica, and it has all sorts of really beautiful generated art, and it has a search for you. So you can search for things in a specific style, or a specific color, or with a certain type of thing in it. But the really great thing with this is then you can click on it, and you can see what the prompt was. So this prompt is a long one. A photo of a huge savage rabbit monster in space. Style of, well, here they mention an artist. I wouldn't do that. I would kick out all of these. Acrylic palette knife, 4K, vibrant colors, DeviantArt, trending on ArtStation, low details. These are all things that are going to contribute to the style of the thing that's ultimately created. And you can see that prompt resulted in 4 pieces of artwork that are much higher quality and more interesting. What do we have there? John, I'd like to get more ideas to help us in the service industry to make the complicated not so complicated, marketing, etc. I think, John, I'll do your prompt too while I'm kind of answering this a little bit. I'll talk to you about how we're seeing people use generative art right now. I'd say the biggest time saver that I've seen are tools like writing social media posts, writing ad copy if you do Google Ads or something like that. Or honestly, you can go to Jasper and check out their prompts, and those will give you ideas for things that you can just do yourself in ChatGPT. And ChatGPT is free right now. I'm sure it's not going to be free forever, but it is most likely going to result in a product that is significantly cheaper than Jasper when they start paying for, or when they start charging for it. And they're going to, but I don't think it's going to be anywhere near as expensive as Jasper. But depending on your business, so if you use, I mentioned I work at a company called Aweber. We are an email marketing company, and I really believe that email is one of the most powerful ways to generate an audience of people who will buy your service on a routine basis. And one of the big ways to build that list of folks is to offer them some light free tutorials. So maybe you might want to, if you're in house painting, create a simple tutorial on I don't know, how to fix small holes in a wall, how to patch and paint small holes in a wall, something that might not be worth your time to go out to someone's house to fix. I don't know if that is, but this is just an idea. And have ChatGPT create both an outline for the actual content that then you can finish up, put in a newsletter, put into a download, say sign up for this list and you'll get this tutorial right from me, who's a master at this stuff, and I'll continue to deliver this to you. And it'll also be a way for you to create social posts and content for things like Facebook ads. That's probably the biggest way that I'm seeing people use this right now, is to create both the content that they use to attract their audience, blog posts, downloadables, scripts for videos. That's another thing that this can do pretty well. Ask it to give you a script for a 30-second video about or explaining how to patch and paint small holes, and then also creating content from that to promote on social media and through ads. That was the exercise that we went through a little earlier, where you can say, create 3 Facebook posts from this article. No, well, that's not the article. From that article. And it'll do it for you. Let's see. How is this frog sitting on a turtle? Who's sitting on an alligator? Now this is a winner. Although it did not get the turtle or the alligator. Instead, what it created was like a frog alligator hybrid. All right, impressive. Okay, and I'm going to do one more of these prompts. Jack, yeah, you're right. This whole webinar is being live scripted by ChatGPT. One day, all of us online will just be virtual avatars. That this whole last aside, John, that was a really great question, and all of you have my email, and if you have questions about how you can use this specifically for your business, I would love to help. This stuff is so wild. I really think it's going to change the world, and I would love if the people around me were using this to make their lives easier, so you can spend more time on your business, or ideally with your family, or just doing the things that you love. So please talk to me about it. Just email me and I'll come up with a bunch of ideas. So a kangaroo DJ, I shouldn't have done, I included Am I Too Late, but still, kangaroo DJ in a nightclub, rocking out anime style. Let me get rid of that beginning part because I screwed that up. I'm going to just leave this open for a couple more minutes to answer any questions you have. If you have questions specifically about your business or something that you've been wanting to try out, let me know. I'd love to answer it on stream. Yeah, these are pretty cool. I like them. One last thing I want to show you is, it kind of gets to the question Kurt asked, but not in super detail. I'm going to grab an image from down here. Maybe this one. I'm going to crop it, and you can do some pretty neat things with this tool. So let's say I have a square picture of my family at the beach, and I want to make it landscape view, 16:9. What I can do is I can extend the frame of this picture. There's nothing out here, but what I can ask it to do is, is to I can give it a prompt to create what's outside the frame. And this takes just a little bit of time, but it's really kind of mind-blowing. So that one is not perfect, but let's see if any of the others are a little better. That one's a little better. I'm going to go with that one. It actually, in a funny way, does a better job with photographs. But on my page, I actually extended this image out, and I did it really quickly, so you can kind of see some clunkiness here. This was a square image, and I had it extend out this way, where it just extended out using like a beach scene. I think my prompt was like a beach scene on a cloudy day, and it created this, which is not half bad at this size. And then this side was a dog on a surfboard, and you can see it did its job. All right, let's see. Let's go back over to here. Ooh, that one is even more kind of grotesque. That's not the end of the world, that one. Yeah, so we'll go with this one. And now, is it perfect? No. But did it take me really any time at all to create? No. And it fills up the space that I need it to fill up. So like you can kind of see what I was talking about earlier, where one of the ways this can be most helpful is at a starting point, where it can do the vast majority of the work for you, and then you're going to need to go in and clean it up, crop it, edit it in some ways. But Lexica is a great place to start if you want to see how people ended up creating artwork that was really beautiful, like this one. And you can just copy the prompt. You can edit it to your heart's content. All right. How can you add stuff to an existing logo? That is the video that I'm going to follow up with, Pete, because it's a little bit more. Oh no, my camera cut off. Let me see if I can fix that. I mean, you don't really care about my... Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out why that happened. Well, I don't want to make you spend a ton of time just sitting here watching this. Oh, there we go. I must have hit a shortcut. So Skylar asks, if I use ChatGPT for blogs or website landing pages, is there a way for me to easily fact check? I sometimes have to write for government regulated products. No. Right now, the answer to that is no. You should treat it like you're an editor who needs to fact check the content you're writing. I'd say the safest way to go about this is to have it write you chunks at a time. So ask it to write no more than 2 or 3 paragraphs about a section of what you need to write and have it fact check. Do not trust that it's going to write you something that is accurate until you've read it and feel like it confidently does. So Pete asks, assuming this could be rid of graphic designers once they fine-tune it, I think in some cases you're right, and maybe in all cases in the future, because this is just going to keep getting better and better as more people use it and choose the things that we like. What we're training it is to better understand what people are asking for when they actually type these things in. So they're going to get better, and they're going to get better fast. Like already, just how fast this has gotten better is wild. In the next couple of years, it's not going to get rid of all graphic design jobs. Although I've been talking to some design students, designers early in their career, because my background's in design, and sometimes I'll do like portfolio reviews and stuff, and they are really nervous about this. And when I'm honest with them, I say, like, you should be. You cannot just expect that you can go out into the workforce and do the same type of design work that has existed for the last couple of days or the last couple of years. In the next decade, I think a lot of that's going to go away. Like the junior production designers, where they're just given a simple brief and they have to create a really simple illustration that someone else told them to make. A computer could do that. Where there are still going to be opportunities are in kind of two places. One is people who get really good at writing prompts for these AI art tools, where they're able to think of things or phrase them in a way that other folks can't, to get really tremendous results that stand out. And the other is designers who have an interesting opinion and style that a computer doesn't know yet. Because since these things are trained on artwork that exists already, they don't know the wild, on the edges artwork that people are creating today. And I think there's always going to be a place for that. Eventually, computers are going to be able to riff on their own stuff and create their own new styles, but I think there's always going to be a place for people and personality and the actual human-to-human interaction. Okay. Emily has question about generating image. Oh, wait. Kurt asked, does Punch It Up work with DALL-E? No, it doesn't right now, at least through the DALL-E interface. Each time you hit generate, it's a new prompt. You can refine, but Punch It Up, unfortunately, doesn't work. So Emily asks, question about generating images, especially photos. Is there a watermark or metadata that shows it's been AI generated? Thinking for disinformation, fake news generation. So no, right now there isn't. But that is one of the things that large companies are trying to solve. Things like Google, OpenAI themselves are trying to solve it as well, because not only is image generation possible, but in a variety of different ways, so are videos are able to be manipulated with AI. You play with TikTok, Snapchat, all those filters, like that stuff is getting more and more sophisticated every day. And in no time, it's going to be fairly easy to create a video of someone saying or doing something that they didn't do that is indistinguishable from real life. So that's not a terribly hopeful response, but there you go. Where does it get dangerous? What's the dark side of these, both DALL-E and chat? So here's an interesting thing about chat. They're really restrictive in the types of responses it can give. Like it can't give harmful content. I'm sure you can find some way to have it give you a way to hurt yourself, but they're really conscious about not letting you write prompts that give you answer. Well, you can write the prompt, but it won't give you answers about how to hurt yourself or do something that is like violent. They also don't return like hate speech or anything like that. They've been very conscious about that because in the past, AI conversational bots like this have very quickly devolved into some pretty awful stuff. Skylar says, I feel like a lot of people outside the design world don't know about this kind of stuff. Yeah, that is true. But Canva which is a really awesome, easy to use design tool. They're already building in AI powered tools. So I don't know if they have AI powered image generation yet. I'm sure they will soon. But in their text editor that they just recently released, there are AI tools like this. So if you use Canva, you can play with their document editor and use some of this, although you're not going to get the direct access that ChatGPT gives you. Jack asks, could ChatGPT write a prompt for an image generator? Yes, that's like one of my things on my list that we can try. So let's go back over here. I lost my Windows. Where is it? And we'll say a new chat. Write me a prompt for DALL-E. DALL-E. I'm trying to think of the best way to say this. Would it be? Yeah, we'll just do DALL-E to generate good looking painting of a cat or something. How about that? Okay. Oh no. That was really good, ChatGPT. I should have copied and pasted that faster. Okay, so write me a prompt for Dolly to generate a great looking picture of a cat, painting of a cat. Okay, why are you doing this? This is the last time I'm going to write this prompt. Okay, let's see how this... Yeah, see here they have what the subject is, what the medium is, a high resolution painting, the subject of a cat with a relaxed posture and content expression, some more details, fluffy fur and its coloring. In the background, some details about the location, a cozy home with perhaps a windowsill, and the mood of the painting should be peaceful or calming. So we'll drop this in here, generate. Oh, actually, I'm still in edit image. That is not what I want to do. I want to do that here. And we'll see what we get back. Any more questions? We've gone for about an hour, and I don't want to take everybody's time. I'd love to know if you thought this was valuable, if you thought it was interesting, if you'd be interested in learning more about this or getting some prompts that might help you get started. I've had a lot of fun. This one's pretty cute. I'm honestly not blown away with this. I guess this one's pretty. Let's do an illustration of a cat, and we'll say yeah, we'll just do that. But I'm not going to keep going back and forth over this. How can chat help realtors, lawyers? Can it scan documents or contracts and look for errors or change things on its own, etc.? So there are a couple sites I want to introduce you to. The first is called Do Not Pay. And this bills itself as the world's first robot lawyer. It is essentially a replacement for a human lawyer. And what they're trying to do is they have a $1 million reward out there where they're saying any lawyer who will agree to wear an earpiece while arguing a case in front of the Supreme Court and let Do Not Pay argue the case, they'll give that lawyer $1 million. That's a publicity stunt, but what they're trying to do is replace the need for human lawyers. You're probably familiar with some tools that will handle price negotiation on bills for you. So like your bill with your phone or cable company. You can actually just pit a bot, an AI-powered bot, against their AI-powered chat bots, and you'll frequently get a price reduction. Now, in terms of tools that a lawyer or realtor might actually use themselves, there are some neat tools being built to make legal documents easier to understand. There's a friend of mine on Twitter is building a tool called Detangle, and the main goal of it is to take complex legal language and translate it into something human readable. And I don't think he's launched yet, but it was remarkably good at accurately translating legal docs into simple text. So that might be something you want to use as a lawyer for your clients to say, like, one of the services I'm going to do is I'm going to simplify this for you. You can bring me any legal doc. This is, if you're on retainer for them, or I don't know. And I'll simplify it for you. You can just send it to me, and within a couple minutes or whatever, I got it back for you. For realtors, I think one of the big things that could be helpful is answering people's questions or having a smart autoresponder when people email you. I'd have to give that a little bit more thought. And if somebody had if a realtor is interested in using technology like this and can walk me through their flow of like what content writing takes the most time for them, I'd love to try and come up with some ideas. Yeah, so you know what? I think I'm going to call this a night. I have some homework on my end. I'm going to do a quick video of how to edit existing images with AI, like how to composite two images together or something like that. And I'm also going to send you all an email with links to all of the stuff that we went through today, as well as some of my favorite prompts. And like I said, you have my email. So if you have any questions, if you want to brainstorm a specific use case, just reach out to me. I'd love to help. And before you know it, you won't need me anymore because you'll be an expert with these tools. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. This has been a lot of fun on my end. And I hope it changes your business or your life in a positive way. I'll see you, folks.